Alright, so home briefly, digging through storage trying to find some important paperwork. Yesterday, finished some of that and actually sat down at lunch and played a game of the original Flash football. But look what I found. For those who don't know, this is the actual original 1997 copyright book, Flash football. How old is this? It's literally typed up on a word processor. This is what I was trying to go for font-wise for some of my books. I wanted to get to that old school typewriter font. But this was actually the rule book for the original Flash Football 1997 edition. This is part of the copyright package. So I had two copies. I had duplicates of everything made. One went off to the Copyright Office to be registered, and then one I mailed to myself, a poor man's copyright. That I cannot find. I'm assuming that was destroyed when I had a flood. We had a storage unit that suffered some flooding, and a lot of stuff was destroyed, and all that just had to go into the dump as it was rotten and moldy. But some of it is here, and there originally was all 30 teams of the 1997, 30 teams of the 97 NFL season. So these are the only two that were left. These were the Super Bowl teams, Denver and Green Bay. And because I was going to be selling it, I didn't use the names of the players, and I didn't use the names of the teams. But that's what a team chart was going to look like. This was 1997 team chart, copyright 1997. And you can see how faded they are now. They were going to be color, so green and gold. No names, the punter, the place kicker. So this is exactly what you would have gotten in the box. Every 30 teams individually done, plus the team, this right here, was part of the 2001 set, because I realized it's just way too expensive to do color team charts. Plus, it takes up a lot of space if you're just going to play a solo game. So then I devised what are called the team lists. So all of this data is just right here in a team list, and then you can make your own charts, because 30 color thingies in every box was going to be 30 color copies in every single box was going to be very expensive. So it was easier just to make a 2001 in AFC, and on the flip side color chart, and on the flip side NFC color chart of all the teams. Plus, a team list is easier because you're going to jot them on the score sheet anyway. But that was the original prototype. And what's cool about it is, again, you have my split in with a plus in here, quarterback rated. This blows my mind, because my recollection of the original Flash football copyright was that the quarterbacks weren't rated. Clearly, by the time it became Flash football, I was rating quarterbacks. And I'm not certain. We'll have to read in the rules. But Flash, originally the game was called Flash Quarterback, and you were the quarterback. They weren't rated. But then it evolved into Flash Football, and I started rating quarterbacks. So Brett Favre's a +4. This might have been Dorsey Levens +2. This would have been Edgar Bennett +1. Split in +1, flanker +2, tight end +1. Their defense was -1, -1. This is out, and it's so faded. Or maybe that was always a little light colored. My eyes aren't what they once were under this light. But there's Bronco. Yeah, it's faded, because this isn't the orange and blue. This is turned into like a purple. So that's how old this is. 1997. This would have been shipped off with 20. And I copied, like a dumbass, I copywrote the other 28 teams with it. Would have been really no reason to. I just, the layout, what it looked like. And of course, I put the offensive line to show you the default formations of the teams. So most teams had a pro set style like this. There might have been a couple of teams in a single back or whatever. But long story short, of course, listed the offensive line, but the offensive line is not rated. The game is getting abstracted. So offensive line is factored into the values. Elway was a +3. Fullbacks were +1. Terrell Davis +3. Split in +2. And of course, Shannon Sharp +2. -2 versus the run. -1 versus the pass. That's a trip. Both punters were 42. Punt returner, wow, this was what's his name? It returned the punt for a touchdown in the '96 Super Bowl. He's a 15. Darian Gordon, I think, was Denver's, and he was a 12. But Denver had the better defense, better halfback. But Brett Favre is a +4. So let's see. How did quarterbacks rate? Because I don't remember rating quarterbacks. Wow, look at this. Oh my God, these are original notes. Teams, it says here, needs more offense. Interesting. So this must have been some original playtesting. Holy cow. Yeah, some original playtesting stuff, it looks like. Fascinating. Our notes, maybe just playtesting it. Yeah, look at my original score sheets. So here's the original score sheets that were in the 97 box. Denver and Oakland, you write down the score and you jotted down the score sheet. This is what it evolved into for the 2000 and the edition that ended up being sold, the 2001 edition. You had a quarterback rating and it was laid out here. So it evolved into more information all the way across the board. So here you didn't even write down the data. You had to have those sheets in front of you. So I have to have or I'd have to write them down or something. I'd have to have the sheet in front of me to call the plays because I didn't know +2 versus -1. So +1, I wouldn't have had the data. And then it evolved into saying, well, I just need to transcribe the data so everything's right in front of me for the games. So that's how that evolved. That's amazing. So the original score sheets were just a straight up sheet of paper that said score sheet, where you write an offense and home and away, and then just write down the scoring summary. That's a trip. So that's what the original score sheets looked like. These were original play tests. You notice I don't have a date on any of this shit, but these were original play tests. These are literally the play test docs. Oh my God. And why I didn't date anything. It had to be around 97 or 98 because I based it on the current NFL teams. Look at this. So Denver and Oakland, 24-13. I probably would have played this with Freddie because we were huge. Obviously, we're a huge rivalry. His team, his favorite team. So I bet we played these. Philly and Detroit. This would have been Glenn. Glenn's a huge Detroit fan. He's from Detroit, so he's a Red Wings fan, Tigers fan, Lions fan. Philadelphia, Detroit. Denver scored on a 2-yard run. Craver. Napoleon Kaufman on a run. Fenner on an 8-yard run. Elway threw an 8-yard pass to Sharp. Elam a 24-yard field goal. Craver with a 21-yard run. Craver. Oh, because it said fullback on the cards. Or running back. It would have said RB, which would have been the third back. So Terrell Davis did not score in this Denver game. And then Philly, Detroit. We had Philly with a 41-yard field goal. Philly with a 25-yard pass. This looks like Glenn's handwriting. Dude, this is Glenn's handwriting. This is not my handwriting. That is so cool. Yeah. And look how Glenn put them together. That's a trip. He did them in... Holy shit, I forgot Glenn. So this is me. And Glenn put them together like this. That is so cool. Philly, 41-yard field goal, 25-yard pass. Philly, so he didn't even write down quarterbacks or anything. 46-yard field. So this was our play test, and we whooped Detroit. 47-yard pass for Philly. Philly 2-yard run. So that was, and I know it's Glenn because I remember test playing all this with Freddie, Glenn, and my brother. Okay, Oakland, KC. This is probably me solitaire. 47-yard run, 3-yard run, 2-yard run, nothing in the third, 48-yard field goal for KC. KC lost 21-3 in this play test. I had something up there scribbled out. Oh, my Lord. This would have been an early play test, 10-3. Probably while I started jotting down the stats, saying, okay, we need more offense, 10-3. This, who knows how early this is, and I didn't date anything. And look, I'm play testing it on the actual score sheets, dude. I must have been crazy. Denver, Oakland again. This might have been Fred and I again. Denver whooped us 19-0, and we didn't track who scored, just what happened. And then we had a game on the backside. Yeah, look, 7-6. So you can see these scores on the back side did not get enough offense. Holy crap. I wish I had written a date down on one of these. It had to be 97, around 97. Arizona, we got New Orleans, 23-14. Centers caught a pass from Graham. 64-yard pass more from Graham. I now write Graham pass to. Back in the day, I would write the length to who and from who. So I changed how I go about that. Nothing on the back of that. That's a trip. I have not seen these. So this was wrapped up in a manila paper sack. And I'm looking for some important papers, so I brought all that shit in, and look what I found. Super Bowl 33, unfinished. I love that, unfinished. I wonder why. 13-3, 30-yard field goal, 55-yard field goal, 47-yard run, 52-yard field goal. Second quarter, all that happened in the second quarter. And oh wait, this is my wife, Jen, and me, Jay. So my wife and I were test playing this one. And unfinished, no kidding, no unfinished. So good thing I wrote unfinished on there. I wouldn't have known what happened. So my wife was whooping me 13-3, and I said, I quit. I'm going back to the drawing board. There's no way Green Bay loses this. That's bizarre why we didn't finish that. Here we go. December 15th, 1997, Monday night. Now, is that the game that we're playing? Or was that when we played it? This must be the game we're playing. Denver won over Denver lost 30-26 to San Fran. 39-yard field goal, 24-yard field goal, 43-yard field goal, a lot of field goals. 6-yard pass to Jones from Young, 5-yard pass to Griffith from Elway. Yeah, I used to write everything, the pass, length, to who, and from. 18-yard Davis, 49-yard Elam, 24-yard pass from Rice from Young. This was 97. This might have been the 94 teams. 4-yard run Griffith, that's the fullback. 38-yard field goal Elam. 8-yard pass Jones to Young again. 48-yard field goal by Davis. Sad thing is I don't have those other 28 teams. I made all 30 color teams. And they are gone. Because those were shipped off of the copyright box. I kept these. These were going to be promotional in the prototype to show people in the prototype how to play. Exhibition game number 1, we have Denver, Freddie, there it is, Fred, F, and J, Freddie and J, 12-10, and again, no date. Denver, 49-yard field goal, Denver, 42-yard field goal, Brown, 5-yard pass from Hostetler, so we were playing the 93 season, it looks like. Yeah, this would have been 93. 19, Elam, 19-yard field goal, Ford, 34-yard field goal, Elam. So I was playing a 93 or 94 Raiders team. He must have been playing his Broncos from 90, the Super Bowl era. Kansas City, Baltimore, another exhibition game, unfinished. Unfinished. Fred was routed. So Fred must have had to leave, or we just quit. Fred was routed. Unfinished. No kidding again. 26-0. I was killing Baltimore. He was Baltimore. That's a trip. I would have never known this. Why we didn't write in there, but Fred was routed. So I was rubbing Fred's nose in it. Why we didn't finish it? Beyond me. Jacksonville, Denver. This would have been a replay of the 96 playoff game because Freddie, to this day, Freddie's so mad that Jacksonville came into Denver and beat that Denver team. And there's no doubt this would have been a replay of that, 29-26. Yeah, Brunell. It's 35-yard pass to McCardle from Brunell. So we were replaying the 96 head-to-head, and Denver still barely won it, 29-26. Nothing on the back. No dates. Damn it, Jason. Why didn't I date anything? Kansas City, Denver again here. This would have been another test, 13-7. Nothing on the back. Pittsburgh, Oakland. This would have been, this might have been Glenn and I. I didn't even write the names of who was in here. On some I wrote Jen and Fred. 17-13, Pittsburgh beat Oakland. George to Brown. So this would have been Jeff George. Are you shitting me? Jerome Bettis, Yancey Thigpen. So we were playtesting different years, different seasons, I guess. Jacksonville whooped Arizona 29-0. Holy cow. And then the Raiders Broncos again, another game half done. I didn't write unfinished on this. I wonder why. I guess we intended on finishing it one day. So I'm going to have to call Freddie and say, dude, we got to finish this game. Holy cow, that's a trip. I don't know if you guys can see any of this stuff I'm looking at. But here it is. This was the original rule book. I don't even have because there were no charts. So we had the original field, which was basically just that big flash field. This is 97 copyright. So that big field with nothing else but the big field. This book 30 team charts, and then I think I had the fictional teams on a flip chart. I can't remember though if I even had fictional when I copywrote it. Matter of fact, this may not have team creation or fictional stuff in it. It's so old. So let's look. Flash Football is a football card game that uses one deck of specialized cards, team charts, and football field to mark yardage. Flash Football is a two-player game. Some knowledge of football is helpful, but it is not required to play Flash Football. And so you've got to remember, this was the prototype. This was it. This was the thing. Flash Football, I had to type it up on a word processor. I don't know how, and then I must have taken them in and had it print it like this. I love rule books that are like this. 4 pages, 8 pages long. I wanted it to be like Monopoly. You get your box, your rule set was super easy, your teams, your cards, you play. Like a board game. Flash Football was a simple concept. Has a simple concept. As the coach of the professional football team, you will call the offensive plays to move your team down the field. However, on defense, you will call only strategies to help the defense stop your opponent. It's late in the fourth quarter. You're down by 5, and you have been held in check all game by a stingy defense. Can you mount a game-winning drive? It's the long, hard road to the championship. Do you have what it takes to win the big game? Question mark. Items needed to play FF. A pencil, paper, and a couple of coins. Well, and the teams, and this, and the rules. But to play, it's all you need is a pencil, paper, and some coins? Shit. Dude, then what do I need all this for? Oh my God. Game setup. First, each player selects a team to coach. Shuffle all the cards and divide them into 2 decks. A game deck used for both players to resolve play, and an off deck not used during play. The game starts with a kickoff to the home team. The home team. So I was back then. I was even thinking home team gets ball first. However, again, this timed itself, so there was no who gets it last, right? It's just whatever the clock says. But interesting that I said game starts with the home team getting the ball. The home team uses its kick return and will flip its first card, checking the run-in column to see how far they return the kickoff. This yardage is marked off from the home team's goal line to get an accurate return. So you would flip and look at the inside run and add it to your kick return. So I did have some variable. Oh my God, so you would flip. So originally you flip it 3. So my kick returner is 21 plus 3, 24-yard return. So there was some dynamism. So static result with, oh my God, I forgot that. That's pretty cool. So I'm not even playing. So I've redone Flash. Field General Football is supposed to be a revisiting back to the original concepts. I did not remember this. This yardage is marked off from the home team. That way you would have fumbles built in. You would have a fumble built in. Penalty built in. Yeah, there was no busted play on the original cards, though. So a busted play would not have worked. This yardage is marked off from the home team's goal line to get an accurate return. Place a coin on the proper yard line to mark the ball location and the coin of the first down, 10 yards further. Yard line. The ball marker is moved after every play depending on the yards gained or lost. The home team always starts the game with the ball, and the visiting team gets the ball first to start the second half. So, and then, of course, we don't know who's going to have the ball last as time. So that's game setup. Gameplay, as in football. The offense has 4 downs to get 10 yards for a first down. The offensive player announces the play, run inside, run outside, short or long. Holy shit. So I had not even devised progression and timing passes yet. So the original, it would be almost worth it to order the copyright version of the game from the Copyright Office. But I think it's $100 an hour you pay lawyers to dig it out, photocopy it, package it, and send it to you. And so it could take, who knows how long it would take them to dig up the archives of the original Flash Football. I would love to see the original cards, because the original cards may be, I wouldn't have changed them a lot, but wow. So the first run was inside run, outside run, short pass, short and long. Okay. And then the defense reveals its strategy card, right? There were cards. The offensive player then flips the top card and applies the appropriate play result, adding the player's value and applying the defensive results in the final yardage. This process is continued until there is a turnover, punt, or a score. When all the game deck cards are used, it is the end of the quarter. When the quarter ends, all the cards are again shuffled and divided into 2 decks. After 2 quarters, it is halftime. The third quarter starts with the home team kicking off to the visiting team. A game consists of 4 quarters. If the teams are tied at the game's end, then 1 overtime quarter is played to sudden death. First team to score wins. Its overtime ends, the game ends in a tie. The home team always receives the kickoff in overtime. So my home team built in, because I don't think it didn't have random numbers. So home team is built in here on the random numbers, right? There are more high numbers for home and than there are for the. But so my home advantage would have been getting the ball first in overtime. Kickoffs at the beginning of the game, start of the third quarter, and after every score, the ball is kicked off. The receiving team will use this kickoff and flip, checking the run inside column, adding the 2 to see how far the kick was returned. Remember, this yardage is marked off on the team's goal line. Punting. On 4th down, a team may choose to punt the ball. All punts travel the punter's yards. Any punt that goes into or through the defensive end zone is a touchback, and the other team gains possession of the ball on their own 20-yard line. The team may return any punt that is not a touchback or coffin corner. The punt return is resolved the same way as the kick return. The receiving team uses the punt returner and flips the card checking the run inside column, adding the 2 and counting the yardage from where the punt was fielded. Oh, I want to say, where's coffin corner punts? Here it is, coffin corner punts. When a team is between his opponent's 35 and 50-yard lines, so between the 35 and 50, all punts must be coffin corner punts. The player would announce the coffin corner and flip the next card, checking the run inside column. The punt will be spotted at that yard line. Oh, wow, so you flipped it, and if it said 3, the ball went out at the 3-yard line. Holy smackaroo. So my original Flash football was a little different. Holy cow. It might be worth re-releasing this version. The problem is I don't have the original cards. I would have to order this from the copyright office. And then I would have the original Flash cards that would have original inside run, outside run, short pass, long pass. Wow, it did not have random numbers because there were no charts. I think. That's cool. Coffin corner punts cannot be returned. That is so smart. Dude, I was using run inside for special teams. That is so cool. Field goals. When the I have not seen this in, what is it, 2025? I've not seen this in 30 years. Field goals. When the offense is on the inside, the defense's 38-yard line, the offense may elect to try a field goal. The player will announce the play, flip the card, and reference the field goal column. What? There was a field goal column. If the field goal column, the bottom of the card had an FG. That's right. It had an FG at the bottom of the card, and I think it either said good or no good, I think. The FG will say good, or the field goal is scored. If the FG column denotes no good, then it's no good. That's it. And the difference was, it didn't matter where you were at on the field. You just had to be at your kicker's yard line. So if I was at, my place kicker. Holy cow, +0. What is that? I don't remember how that works. Let's read this. If the field goal column is good, the field goal is scored. If the field goal column denotes a no good, then the field goal is missed. If the field goal is missed, the other team takes the ball on that yard line unless it is missed inside the 20-yard line, then it would go out to the 20. A team's place kicker, PK, may denote a +1, +2, or +3. This rating is added to the maximum field goal range. Okay, so the maximum field goal range is 38, but Denver's kicker is a +0. So his maximum range was a 38 or closer. So once I'm to the 38 or closer, I flip to see if it's good or no good. And I remember now, that was one of the complaints of early play testing. A 50-yarder should be harder than a 27-yarder. Well, and the card didn't care whether you were in the 27 or the 50, which I didn't care because I had built in a standard accuracy. But I get it. That was one of the big complaints early on. So, an example, a +2 PK could attempt a field goal at the 40 or closer. Turnovers. When a card denotes turnover, exclamation point, the other team takes possession of the ball at that spot. That was it. So, turnover was just picked off right there. Fumble right there. There was no, and again, in the original game, you were meant to drive your team. So, you weren't going to get a cheap You weren't going to get a cheap interception return for a touchdown or whatever. You were supposed to be the quarterback driving the team. If a team fails to get 10 yards and 4 downs, doesn't punt the ball, then it's a turnover and downs, right? Play legend. Number denotes the yardage gained on the play. Minus number denotes yardage lost on a play. Position denotes the player involved in the play and his value is to be added to that result. Incomplete denotes a pass incomplete. Turnover denotes the ball was lost on to the defense. So I didn't differentiate interception or fumble. So you flipped it, it just said turnover. It could be a pick, could be a sack, strip sack, fumble. So I literally did not differentiate. It was just turned over right there at the line of scrimmage. Sack minus number denotes that the quarterback was sacked for a loss. Good denotes the field goal was made. No good denotes the field goal was missed. And I forgot. So there was, I think there was inside, it was inside, outside, short, long, and down here was field goal. And it would just say good or no good, I think. Wow. So it was really, it was really pretty basic, which is great. I mean, I love this kind of simplicity in all my gaming. Scoring: touchdown is 7 points. PAT is good. Field goals 3 points. Safeties 2 points. Okay. A touchdown occurs when offense crosses the defensive goal line. So I felt I had to felt like I had to tell you what a touchdown was. A field goal occurs when you kick it through the uprights. A safety occurs when you sacked or whatever. Restrictions: a field goal can only be kicked from inside or on the defense's 38-yard line. The long play cannot be called when the offense is on or inside the defense's 20-yard line. That's the only two restrictions. Team charts. Flash football includes 30 team charts. That was, again, there were these two, the two Super Bowl teams and the other 28. 30 team charts representing 30 different generic football teams. Again, I was going to sell this, so I didn't want to imply Broncos or Packers, but I used colors. I purposely color-coded them so people would go, oh, this must be the Broncos. So all the color, they were all in team colors, all the charts. The charts denote team starters on both offense and defense and special teams. Defense is represented by an overall team value. A player's value is added to the yardage when it is denoted on the play. A player's value has no bearing on the play result, just on its final yardage. Right? This was a yardage yield game. Right? All players were worth a yardage yield, a gain or loss. The player values are not subjective. The values are determined by using special formula, which is still true. But the formula itself is kind of subjective. Right? It's my formula, and I'm basing it on what I base it on, so it's kind of subjective. Run in represents conservative running plays up the gut. Run out represents an explosive outside running plays. They are more dangerous, but can pay off big dividends. Short represents short, high percentage passing. Long represents a long passing attack. Long is a dangerous type of pass, but it gains more yardage. The long play stands as called. Therefore, there is no defensive strategy against this play. The reason for that was long was meant to be used in 3rd and 16, 3rd and 20, Hail Mary situations. And most defenses, when you're in 3rd and 16, the defense knows you're going to be looking to throw the ball long. So there was no reason to denote. Right? Defensive strategies. This is fascinating. One defensive strategy card must be called on every down. The versus run strategy negates all running values during running plays. So as the game works now, in my modern version, versus run comes off every single run no matter what. Versus pass is added or off. Same with versus pass. Back then, you had to call versus run. You had to call versus pass, which I think is better because teams with a +2 run are just going to give up running yardage. However, the cards are designed where it actually works out, to the right feel of the teams. All backs, negates all running back values on running plays. All backs are 0, but the card stands subtract the defense versus run from all final yardage. This versus pass strategy negates all players' values. Oh, so calling versus run would make Terrell Davis a 0, and they would get to take off their -1. So it would negate Davis and take off their -1. Now I see why the scores. Now I see why I was complaining that the numbers were too low. Because I can see now why this particular version was probably yielding feast or famine, less yardage. Right? Again, unless I can see the cards, because these obviously were the refined cards in which we didn't have to call strategies now. Because this was designed to be a head-to-head game. It eventually evolved into a solo game that you could play head-to-head. This was meant to be me calling offense and Freddie calling his team. And then, of course, you could use defense. The versus pass strategy negates all players' values during the short play, but the card result stands. Always subtract the defensive versus pass yardage. Keying of halfback or fullback strategies are used to key a running back on a run, and is only effective when you key correct. It negates all card results and limits player to gain his value in yardage. Oh, sweet. So, Freddie, I could key Davis, and if the card said 46 yards halfback, Davis would only get his 3. Shit, that's pretty cool. So he wouldn't get 47 yards, 46 plus 3, 49, minus my defense. He would get, if I keyed him, he gets just his yardage. But I'm guessing as to what he's going to call, but I'm basically saying I'm taking away your halfback, and he may call a pass or whatever, but I would be taking away his halfback. That's genius, Jason. If I do say so myself, this 97, I would have been 26 years old when I began, 24 when I began development, was done and finished with it and ready to copyright it by 97. I was 27 years old, so I was half my age now. Only effective when the key is correct. It negates all card results and limits the player to gain his value of yardage. Incorrect double teaming strategies forces incomplete pass. Any strategy card played incorrectly has no effect on play. So I could look at Green Bay and say I'm taking away your flanker, and if it flipped it and it said flanker, it was incomplete. That's pretty sweet. Okay, versus run versus pass. On the team chart, the defenses versus run versus pass are used when the defense calls versus run or versus pass. These values are subtracted from any yardage. So this is before they were automatic. Key halfback fullback doesn't key a back during a pass. The defense has no effect on the halfback or fullback during a pass. So if anything come up halfback or fullback, they got a free ride. That's pretty sweet as he's checking it down. Questions about Flash Football can be answered by writing Jason, my old address. And it was written and designed and developed by Jason Graham, Flash Football 1907. That's the rules. That's it. No charts at all. Obviously, it was inside, outside, short, long, and field goal. You used inside for all special teams modifiers, and it was head-to-head. You had to call versus run or versus pass, or you could key a halfback or fullback, or you could double cover a receiver. Nowhere does it mention this +4 quarterback. So he must be added to all pass plays, which makes sense because I'm trying to think who the stud receiver was. So the old formulas must have factored in, were lower for these guys because your quarterback had a number. So Favre would have probably been added to all pass plays. So split in +1, +4 would be +5. So let's say I flip this over here, go 13 split in would be 13, 17, 18 yards. That's probably how that worked. And interestingly enough, I don't mention quarterback in here at all. But the original 30 charts actually have a plus quarterback. But nowhere does it say always add your quarterback rating. So I had quarterbacks rated, but nowhere do I tell you what you should be doing. It doesn't say you need to add your receivers grade. It does say it does actually tell you run in represents conservative running, run out. I just read it where it says you add the touchdown occurs when the offense crosses the. I thought I said a player's value is added to the final yardage when he is denoted on the play. A player's value has no bearing on the play result, just on its final yardage. So there had to have been plays that probably said QB, like outside, it might have said outside run QB, and it would have been his rating, or it might have said short pass to QB, and that would have been add his number to his short pass to somebody. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But these ratings ended up, before I sold this went through machinations, obviously. The cards changed. There was still no random number because I used no charts, but I'm sure these cards started to change. The quarterback rating vanished from the game. It was not in Flash Quarterback. I know that because you are the quarterback. Then I think I ended up removing it again because the original Flash Football that I sold had no quarterback ratings. And one of the complaints from fans was they wanted dynamic field goal ranges, they wanted quarterback ratings, and they wanted to see dynamic kick and punt and blocks and all that stuff. So I think I ended up creating charts, which, by the way, here's that original game right here for the charts. Right? It says one file only, career tables. These are the original files that I had Kinko's make. Kinko's. What was it called? Kinko? Was it called Kinko's? So this was the final. So this was in the box, folded with the books, with the team charts, and you got it here. So you had everything on one chart. You had your field, all your tables, your kickoff, punt. Now that's this. These cards went to this game. What's cool about this is you also had weather, injury, fumble, special return, sack, field goal attempts right here. Everything here, and that's where the random number came into play. And there it is, folks. Yeah. So that's what it evolved into. And on the flip side was how to create a team and how to go through the off season for your fictional teams, or for your, if you want to play the 97 Broncos through the season, what would happen to them at the end of the season. And then the quick game, the weather, what you score. This was the simple quick game, struggling and explosive. That's it. This evolved into a more complicated quick game. So this is the original. This would have been version 1. Graham Games. That was my website. Right there's my logo. Graham Games. This would have been the original 2001 version 1. And then it evolved into version 2, which had an addendum to explain certain things that weren't in the rule book, like how does the fumble thing work. There were certain things in the cards that I didn't explain real well in the original book that I had to have an addendum for. But that was the original. It unfolded. Yeah, and then later I wrote this on here for first down, second down. There it is. And what's funny is the numbers are upside down because it was meant to be head-to-head. So I don't know if you can see that, but the numbers, so the guy on that side of the table can read the numbers, and on my side of the table, right? So the numbers are upside down to a point. It's kind of bizarre. See, these are upside down, and then they flip upright. Here, they're upright, and then they flip upside down, right? Because he's going this way, and I'm going this way. Yeah, that's funny. Holy shit. There's my, okay, this is the second edition. So this was added. This is the second edition fast play, quick play. And the advanced career charts, which is second edition. And then advanced career module. My God, this was really old. This one we was running my website team for my Graham Games. Guys from the forums had joined in the league. We had a big draft and we were running the league. Unbelievable. Okay. So let's put this back together. And one side file only. I don't know, that was a note to the Kinko's woman, I think, before they printed them on cardstock. So that's how old. And this stuff was all wrapped up in a manila envelope, in a bag, in a paper bag. That's why I did not know I had it. These are the original formulas, folks. Holy shit. Can't show those on screen. Yeah, these are the original formulas, and there is no quarterback rating. Yep, there is a quarterback rating on one of them. Son of a gun. So those are the original formulas. Haven't changed much. I just redid the formulas. And for Phil General Football, I think I've made them public so people can make their own teams. Wow, but that's a look, my God, that's a look back 30 years. And even a look back to sitting at the bar, play testing it with my friends and family. Many unfinished, and obviously I made notes. Solo, run inside. I was tracking stats. Needs more offense. That is so freaking funny. Nothing on the backside. And then percentages. Yeah, fascinating. Well, for what that was worth, folks, I'm sure it doesn't matter to anybody out there. But it's for me, it's a walk down memory lane. But it's also a look back on the origins of what was the original Flash football, at least the copyright version. Amazing. The second copyright was for the 2001 edition. Was 97 copyright, so it just carried over all rights 97 back, but resolved. And these are from these are the cards from the game that was actually sold. Unbelievable. And that rule book is right here. So here's what ended up being sold. This came with it, color chart. It had the 2002 or 2001 NFL season in it, I think. Color-coded. I think AFC, NFC. This I just played yesterday or whatever. And this is what the original rule book looked like, right? 97 through 2003. GramGames.com. And so here was, and now much better rule book. As we identified the card and explained how it worked. This rule book's still available in the Flash file. Described how everything works, even a little bit about football again. Where's versus run versus pass? Inside plays, outside plays. I'm looking for run versus pass. Timing. Team charts and the PFL. The team list in FF is devised with the understanding of Flash deck card system. Team list position ratings are based on the player's statistical performance. I have devised statistical probability formulas based on the different eras of football, which is true, just right over there. I have also tried to capture individual players and team strengths based on how they played. The goal in FF is to create an accurate depiction of the game of football and to accentuate the differences between two distinct teams. FF is a strategy game. It is not meant to reproduce the exact statistical performances of certain players. The rating system, so it tells you in the rules this was not a replay game. The rating system helps to connect a team's personality and a style of play to the game engine. Therefore, it will be easier to quarterback the 1999 St. Louis Rams than it would be the 2002 Cincinnati Bengals. However, it is not impossible to quarterback the Bengals to a better end. The ratings will reflect the type of team one has to quarterback. The better one's skilled players, the more effective certain plays and strategies will be. And again, there was no quarterback rating in this version. You were meant to be the quarterback. So Flash quarterback, you were the quarterback. Then it evolved into Flash football. I added quarterback ratings, head-to-head defense. Then it went back to no quarterback ratings and completely able to play solo without worrying about calling defenses. But I wanted to see what I say about versus run versus pass. Maybe I've been playing my own game wrong for years. This defines the things that might be misunderstood. Home field, power ratings. That's the power ratings. There's our head-to-head optional rules. 4 defensive formations. There's the 8 man in the box, nickel, base, show blitz. So you could show blitz. That was salary cap and team creation. Yep, team creation. There's the quick play tables. So this is the absolute original. Before I change things, here's the original quick play scoring chart with weather. Here's the 1950 NFL rated. That I did in the last few years. What is this? That's the all the career charts and the quick play tables on one small sheet. There's a worksheet to make your own teams. There's the back page of the book with all the charts. So the charts, because the book came with a field, so it would open up, right? And you would have your field and your charts somehow like this, right? You can see where they were together in the photocopy. So you had your field with your weather, and then you had all your charts instead of that big field. That was the big field that's available out there free, and the 97, the big football field. That was the one that went with this. So that was with this book and these teams when it was copywritten. Because there were no charts. And then, of course, the evolution to the charts. So this is the football field with the weather. That would have been like that. And then this would have folded like that for the back of the book. And then at the very back, and I had one made. This is the one I used the other day. Weather's on the back and the formations here. But what's fascinating is do I mention how the versus rating? I'm curious if I'm doing this wrong. My versus ratings maybe aren't supposed to be activated. I may have been playing my own game wrong. Because remember, I hadn't seen this in 20 years until Kevin had found me and sent me the scanned folder, scanned docs. And I just started playing it. And I might not have been playing my own game right as far as the versus ratings. But I'm pretty sure I sequence of play, kickoff, home team, all returns, play from scrimmage, run or pass. First and 10. The quarterback calls one of the 40 offensive plays, flips the top card of the game deck. The play call is referenced in the result of the play. This method of the gameplay is used for every play from scrimmage, runs, passes, punts, field goals. In the solitaire game, the player must call plays for both teams. The sequence is continued until the game deck cards are flipped and the quarter ends. The solitaire play chart is in development for those hands-off style replay gamers. Jesus Christ, I was trying to placate somebody. Check the Ram games for this final release. On fourth down, I'm not seeing anything for special turnovers, penalties, injury. All game situations, defensive ratings, position monikers, and team lists. Okay, remember, regardless of the offensive play call, the defense's versus run or versus rating will modify the play result. So regardless of the call, those will modify all play results. So I was doing it right. The versus run rating is applied against all running plays. The versus pass is applied against all passing plays. So you didn't have to call the right defense. It evolved into a solo game. The offensive opposition position marker revealed by the play call is the position player who is either rushing or running the ball or receiving and passing on the passing play. The position rating is used to adjust yardage gained or lost. The running back or wide receiver come up is involved in the play, then they use their rating. If the team lists position box in another position box, then use that position box. The situation occurs because a team didn't have a player in that position or they didn't have a player with significant touches. Example, in the run and shoot, the halfback is also the fullback. The tight end would be the wide receiver, the other wide receiver. The plays and their probabilities. Running, so it tells you then what an inside running play and probabilities are. Outside. That's it. Unbelievable. So yep, it evolved and it had quarterback ratings. It did not have quarterback ratings. So this game, as released, had no quarterback ratings. Later, the outcry from those who had reviewed it, those who had reviewed it, or those who had actually bought the first edition, I got feedback saying we'd love to have quarterback ratings. You just got to have quarterback ratings. Got to have quarterback ratings, right? Got to have field goals that are of different distances. So that's when the charts evolved. But there were no quarterback ratings in the original sold edition. The one that actually was manufactured to sell had no quarterback ratings. The initial copyright edition had quarterback ratings. I have no clue how they affected play because it doesn't say anywhere in the rule book how they affect play. And by the way, while doing this hunt for some important papers, and I only have a couple days, I got to then go back. So we left town. We had a problem. I had to come back to hunt for these papers, and I'll be leaving again with the papers. But look what I found in that old storage box: the original Front Page Sports Football manual. This was my favorite computer sports simulator ever, still is to this day. I have the fun. We must have played 20 seasons of Front Page Sports. There were my brother had a team, I had a team, my wife had a team, Freddie, Jeff. We all had a team, and we played year after year after year, drafting and everything. And I would simulate it. I would set it up to simulate, and I would go to bed because it would take forever in that old IBM PC. Or I'd go to school or whatever, and I would come home in the afternoon. My wife was my girlfriend at the time. She wasn't yet my wife, but and it would sim all night while I go to work. Actually, I wasn't in school. Yeah, I was in barber school. I was in barber college getting my barber's license, and I would set it up and let it run while I was in bed, or let it run while I was in barber college. I'd come home and advance to the next week. Yeah, I loved this game. This, to me, was what I thought. I really believed computer sports games. This was just an inkling of what they were going to become. And what happened is they became fucking video games like Madden. Madden ultimately became more popular than this. And it became a button-mashing video game. When this was physics-based, you could create your own plays, build your own playbooks, set up your own coaching paradigm, and let it run, watch it, or coach it, or you could physically try to play with a joystick. But it was so good, man, and everything had ratings, and it was physics-based. And it didn't have an overall, so you'd look at your quarterbacks, and it didn't tell you it didn't have an overall rating. So you'd have to look at your quarterbacks and just decide which combinations of numbers do you want starting. And if I wanted a more scrambling type quarterback, I would look at his acceleration and speed and start that guy quarterback. Especially if I was running like a bootleg play or something. And it showed you how to create plays. So I built an entire run and shoot offense. And I had a run and shoot playbook that I won like 4 championships in like 20 years with that run and shoot offense. And I built a 46 defense that I used for my entire career, my team. I was the New Jersey Generals. We were using the USFL 12 team because it came with different league setups, and we used the 12-team league setup. I took the New Jersey Generals, and I built a run and shoot offense with a New Jersey. My God, was it fun. And the reason I still have this, I don't have the game anymore, I don't have the little floppy disks anymore, it's too bad. But the reason this was so important was, number one, look at the quality. So with your $39.99 or your $29.99 video game that you would buy from Sierra Dynamics, look at the quality of this book. I mean, this is a full-bore, hardcore, beautiful. Listen to that. Right? And they told you everything. Now you get a video game. Now it is nothing like this. Right? This was a straight-up football simulator, man. I loved it. Had a quick cheat sheet for how to play with buttons and joystick, commands, actions. Right? Audibles, how the audibles worked. Oh my God, this was amazing. But why is this book so important? Outside of the fact that it's, holy crap, this is as nice as the books I have made of my actual. The copy protection would say, page 55, second paragraph. What's the third word? And you'd go, oh my God. So you'd come in here and go, oh, page 32, second paragraph, first or third word selected. And you'd have to type in selected and hit enter, and it would go, okay, you're in. So this was your copy protection. This book was your copy protection. And so it's amazing. And I still have it. Why? Because one day I hope that I'll have it digitally. I would love to see somebody put this out digitally that would run on Windows. And of course, if they did and got it running on Windows, you would need this book to answer the so that's how delusional I was, that this would one day be available on Windows. And I could run it through an emulator or something, and I'd need this for the copy protection questions. I think this one had copy protection. It might have been a later one. It might have been the second version that had the copy protection. But anyway, this is my favorite video game of all time. Oh, unbelievable. I had never seen anything like this. This is back when video games were coming out of text. There were actual video games, and then there was this idea of simulating the sport. And Front Page made a baseball game that was brilliant too, that used a physics-based engine to simulate baseball. That was amazing as well. Front Page Sports. Thanks for watching. And what's cool, again, you would draft rookies. They would age. They would get hurt. They could suffer career-ending injuries. They would retire. This had a true career mode that was infinite. It didn't end at 20 years or 10 years or 5, like Madden's would end at 5, and then later Madden got up to 20. I think Madden now goes 25 years and it ends. This was infinite. And I don't know how many seasons I played in it, but that one with my buddies and my wife who owned a team, we must have ran 25 seasons in that, I think. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.